Okay, it's 2023. The real estate market is starting to stabilize. Things are changing. It's not like it was 2 years ago. You have to work a little bit harder to get your house sold, especially for the price that you want. The only way you're going to do that is to get the proper advice and come up with a plan that makes sense to get that top dollar for your house. You've got to hire the right real estate agent. We're going to give you some tips on how to do that. So selling a house is a big deal. We're not talking tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars. We're talking about, and even thousands of dollars. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. And in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars if you make the wrong decision or you don't do the right things on the front end through the process to sell your house. You're missing out on potential money in your pocket at closing. It starts with the right real estate agent. Sure, you can do it on your own, but do you really feel confident that you can go from A to Z and know all of the little details to make sure you're getting that top dollar? What if that real estate agent was so good that they could not only sell your house for more money, but to pay for the listing fees that they charge on top of that and still net you more money? The right real estate agent can do that. We've done it countless times, and you can do it too if you have the right questions and tools to ask going in when you're interviewing agents for selling your house. So first and foremost, real estate agents in 2023 need to be advisors. The role of the real estate agent has evolved. There's a lot of resources online for home buyers and sellers. Real estate agents need to be more advisors. What unfortunately a website or an algorithm can't tell you is, are you making the right decision? Is this a good offer? How do I negotiate this contract? What do I do to buy this house? How do I win in a multiple offer situation? All these little things, unfortunately, you can't find online, or at least get resources to make you feel confident that you can answer those questions yourself, which is why a good real estate agent is imperative to be able to advise you through those things. Can you search online to find a house? Sure. But when it comes to finding that house, is it a good deal? Can we get the house for less than what they're asking? You won't be able to know those answers unless you've got somebody who understands how to negotiate and how to put the deal together to get you the best, either on the buy side, the best deal possible, or on the seller side, the most money in your pocket at closing. So it's important that you're picking real estate agents that can do all that. These are questions you need to ask, or this is the feeling you need to get when you're interviewing them. All right, some qualities in a real estate agent that you probably want to have, and you need to feel like you can see that in them when you're interviewing them. Obviously, confidence being the first and foremost. If they're not confident, how confident are you going to feel when they're negotiating that contract or they're putting that marketing plan together? Confidence, and then that kind of translates into expertise too. Kind of goes hand in hand in a lot of ways. How much experience do you have? Now, let's be clear. Not every real estate agent has sold thousands of homes. Okay, that's not necessarily what you're looking for. The agent that's been in the business for 30 years may not be the best agent for you. What expertise means is, can they sell houses in 2023? Do they understand what's going on in the market right now? Do they understand the technology necessary to sell a house right now? That's important. Also with expertise comes the supporting casts. At Home Marketing Group, we have a complete team that works with every client along the way. We have a marketing department, a listing research department, a contract to close department. We have the agent that you're working with. We've got support staff making sure that all of the calls are getting answered when someone calls about your listing. All of these people are working on your behalf. That's also expertise, because if the agent that you're working with needs some support or help to get your house sold and to come up with a plan for your listing, there's somebody in the room that can help, and there's someone that can do it at a high level. That's also important. You may want to ask, who else do you work with? Who's a part of your team? What support system do you have? Reliability is also important too. Are they going to call you back? Do you feel like they've got it? You know, if you ask them for something, do they get it to you? Can you rely on them? You know, do you feel like they can handle it? They feel like they are connected with you and doing what you need them to do. Also important. So get a gauge on how reliable they are as well. How honest are they? It may not be easy all the time, but you want an agent that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. It's so important. We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars here, folks. So you want an agent who's honest with you. If they don't think something's going to work, or they don't think that price is going to work, or they don't think that offer is going to work, you want them to tell you. As much as you may not want to hear it, it's good to get that feedback. Again, end of the day, it's about the bottom line for you and getting what you want, either on the buy side or the seller side. And an honest realtor is the best realtor. So you want somebody that's not blowing smoke, that shoots you straight, and in the end, you'll win, even though it may not be what you want to hear all the time. Okay? Goals. Make sure that when you're interviewing an agent, they are asking you what your goals are. Why are you doing what you're doing? Everybody has a reason for buying or selling a house, and sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's not. There's a million reasons why someone's doing this. Sometimes you have to. There's a long list of options and reasons. The agent needs to understand that and make sure that you have that discussion with your agent. If they don't ask what your goals are, I don't know how they're going to be able to help you get to the next chapter efficiently if they don't know that. So your agent and you should have that conversation about, here's my goal from selling, here's what I want to do. And then you can work on a plan that gets you to that goal. That's the whole reason for doing what you're doing. Okay? So within that plan, questions to ask, what needs to be done to get my house ready for showings? We touched on that in an earlier episode. It's different for everybody, but that conversation should be had in that appointment if you're selling your house. What's the marketing plan? How are you going to sell my house in 2023? What are the things that are working? What things aren't working? Some things are doing better than others. What's your social media strategy? How are you getting people to my house? Remember, folks, an agent's job is to get people to your house. Okay? Unless they're showing it themselves, that the job of the marketing is to get them to the house. Once they're in the house, then the house will sell itself, or that other agent. And if it happens to be you as the buyer's agent too, even better, because you know the house better than anybody aside from the homeowner at that point. What are the basics of the contract and the timelines? Also a conversation you should be having. Maybe not on the initial appointment, but at some point, the agent should sit you down and go through the contract so you understand the timelines. Home inspections, appraisals, how that loan works, when closing is, when do I have to move? All of those questions need to be answered at some point. Your agent should be having a consultation with you. It's like meeting with an attorney where the attorney tells you how this is going to go. An agent should do the same thing with you in that regard. You should be very clear on how this works. And the agent is basically guiding you through that. Not, I hope this works out. I don't know. I haven't heard from my agent. That's a bad sign. Okay? Contracts, timelines, all important. You should know, at least on a macro level, where you're going next and how this thing works. Listing fees. I touched on it earlier. In a lot of cases, you get what you pay for with agents. You get a lower commission. You're paying a lower commission. You get less service. It tends to happen. The real thing that you need to understand is all right, look, if I'm going to pay this commission to you, Mr. Real Estate Agent or Mrs. Real Estate Agent, how are you going to cover that fee with what you're doing? In a lot of cases, a good realtor will get more money for your property and cover that fee. On the buyer side, it's different. You're not necessarily having to pay anything for those services. And that's a question you do need to ask on the buyer side. Are there any fees if you're buying a house and working with that agent? Because in some cases there are. But on the seller side, which is where that traditional commission typically is, you need to ask that question. Look, okay, if we agree to this price, what's my bottom line going to be? And a good realtor will be able to walk you through all of the costs involved to see if that bottom line is acceptable to you, even if you're paying that higher fee than what you were expecting, or whatever fee that they're charging. But like I said, a good realtor can a lot of times get a little bit more for your house because of the advice and their expertise. And if they can, that difference in fee is negligible and it's being covered because they're doing their job. And you're getting what you want, and you're hitting your goals in the end. So listing fees, while they're negotiable, again, if you're working with an agent who's willing to give up their commission right away and not willing to negotiate and explain to you why they're worth what they're worth, that's a red flag. Because are they going to be able to negotiate an offer that comes in if they're just giving up with you right away? You want an agent who's tough and can go to bat for you in those tough negotiation situations. So the ultimate goal always comes back to getting, especially on the seller side, is putting money in your bank account at closing and making sure that number is acceptable to you. That's what it all comes down to. It's an emotional process. It's a stressful process. A good real estate agent understands that and will help try to alleviate as much anxiety as possible in this transaction to help get you to that point. But at the end of the day, getting you to the goal of why you're doing what you're doing and putting as much money in your bank account as possible, or on the buyer side, getting you the best deal possible, is the job of the real estate agent. And this is the fundamental mindset you need to have when you're interviewing with agents, and making sure that they got that and they understand that. Home Marketing Group, that's what we train. That's what we focus on. That's why our agents do really, really well, because we are advisors, not just agents. We're not order takers. We're there to give you advice to help you get to your goals. And that's what you should be asking, or you should be focused on when you're interviewing real estate agents.
Thank you.